absolutely love Adelaide. Hey everyone, it's Scott here, and in this video, I'm going to give you the direction on whether or not you should consider investing in Adelaide for your residential property investment. I'll break down the pros and the cons. I'll give you my predictions, and while I'm here, I'll show you all of Adelaide, the city. We'll go down to the beach, the wharves. I'll take you onto some golf courses, and Live Golf is actually here in Adelaide playing at the Grange. I got the great opportunity to take my sons, all three of my sons, out to the range. We're going to be playing the actual Live Golf course on the Monday as soon as the comp is over. So I'll show you the whole course there. It's going to be a great video, guys. Stay with me. Okay, so first off with Adelaide, I want to give you some historical context where Adelaide as a capital city has sat in terms of capital growth. You know, as a property investor, the main thing that we're looking for is to build a lump sum of wealth through leverage and taking on that debt, putting the burden of the debt onto the tax man, getting massive tax back when you get the right property on that actual property so that you can pay down that debt using tax that would otherwise just go to the tax man. So that's a very smart thing. And then the second thing is outsourcing that debt repayment to your tenant. So you've got a tenant paying about 70 to 80% of your debt. You've then got the government paying the other 30%. You might need to top up only 5% of your own money. You can hold that property and get capital growth. So where does Adelaide sit in terms of capital growth historically? Well, if you go back traditionally, right, over about 25 years, Adelaide actually has not performed that well. Melbourne, by the way, has actually been the #1 performer for capital growth. Check out this chart. And then Sydney and other places before we actually get to Adelaide, which has underperformed on the long term. I mean, not all the suburbs there. I'm just looking generally the median house price for Adelaide. Of course, some suburbs have done very well, but more often than not, Adelaide has not done that well over that 25-year time period. Now, from 2020 to 2024, things really turned around because Adelaide had been lagging for so long. It actually had one of the highest growth rates of any capital city. It was actually right up there. Check out this chart, and you can see here that actually Melbourne, very disappointing in that 4-year window. Sydney, not that great. You take a look at places like Brisbane and Perth, absolutely rocketed, and you can see all the other cities there as well. Adelaide, incredibly, was at 74% just in that 4-year window. What I want to say though is this: you never want to be a prisoner of the moment when you look at property price growth, because all lagging areas will eventually at some point catch up. But as a property investor, picking that 2, 3, 4-year window as to who's going to grow the most is very difficult. So you want to actually take a 10, 12, 15-year time horizon for your investment. And by the way, no matter how much the growth is, 3 to 4 years of growth is not going to be enough to retire you or meet your financial goals. You're going to need 10 to 15 years of growth. You're going to need to see a doubling or a tripling of the house price to actually get you retired and get you to that financial place. So if you're looking to buy in an area that's just going to have the #1 growth for the next 3 or 4 years, that's actually not the right question. You want to ask the question, what property can I afford today that fits in my budget, the cash flow makes sense for me, that's going to have that growth over the next 10 to 15. So yes, Adelaide has not been the big winner over the last 25 to 30 years. In the last 4 years, it has been a huge winner, not all areas. So many of my clients actually came in Adelaide, we got them in there, they've done incredibly well. So why does Adelaide traditionally not do as well? Well, the economy does not grow as fast, population does not grow as fast. So take a look at these economic numbers of all the states. And as you can see, over the long term, Adelaide, and even projections into the future, check out this chart. This is what we're predicting the economic growth to be into the future. Adelaide is not that strong, and it is not a very diversified market. Now, not only economically does it lag, it also lags on population. So take a look at these population numbers for the last number of years and take a look at these predictions. You can see that places like Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth have far superior population growth. So the question is, would I invest in Adelaide today? Well, look, there are still some suburbs. So if you go to the northern region of Adelaide, there are still houses there that you can purchase for around 600, 700,000 that could be likely over the next 5 to 7 years get to that $1 million mark. So there are some very limited opportunities there. So again, depending on your strategy, Adelaide might be the right place. We've got to look at cash flow, but we've got to weigh up the opportunities that are in Melbourne right now. We've got to weigh up the opportunities which are in Brisbane. We've got to weigh up the opportunities which are in Perth, which all of these areas have far more long-term growth potential than does Adelaide. Adelaide in general, not specifically certain suburbs in Adelaide. However, you're more likely than not at a median house value for a capital city number to see greater growth in Brisbane, greater growth in Perth, greater growth in Melbourne than what you will see in Adelaide as a median house price number over the next 10 years. Now let me show you some of this incredible city. So I'm down here with my family and I'm going to give you a sneak peek at 2 golf courses, the Grange and the Royal Adelaide. I'm behind the wheel. K-Dog Tej. Yeah guys, so you'll notice down here in Adelaide that you got all these beautiful old buildings, parks, churches. They call it the city of churches. You got all these beautiful old buildings. It is absolutely a gorgeous city. Okay, so we have driven just about 15 minutes from the mall where I just was. Okay, so this is Glenelg Beach. It is beautiful down here. You can see all the hotels and all of that. It's just wonderful down here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. The families are out here. It's a Monday, so people are working. You see here, this place is cool. Water slides and all. The kids' playground, the families down here. There's the big pier. That's sand. That's pristine. The beach club down there. Well, my daughter's making me get on this thing, so I actually really do not want to. I don't know why I'm in here, but I am.
You'll be fine. You're okay.
Adelaide, like honestly, it's an adrenaline rush. Big adrenaline rush. All right, guys, so as we go around the Ferris wheel, I want to share with you also this stat on affordability. To take a look at all the capital cities and affordability, so you can see that Adelaide is at a peak. It's right up there with Sydney in terms of it is unaffordable. So it's taking 10 times the average annual wage salary household income to afford a property in Adelaide. What this means now is that Adelaide overall is cooked, it's baked, it's at its peak in the cycle. Of course, there are still those suburbs that I did mention that will have some growth, but overall, you're going to see Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne do a lot better. Now, the key one you got to look at here, check out Melbourne. Massively affordable, and historically, this is not where Melbourne sits. So Melbourne is going to have a big boom ahead. The next 10 years, Melbourne will be the #1 growth area. Will there be some suburbs in Perth and Brisbane that beat certain suburbs in Melbourne? Yes, but you've got to look at your strategy. You've got to look at your budget, what you can afford, what type of property you want, what cash flow, what tax deductions, land tax, diversification. There's a few things there before you decide where to invest, guys. Definitely recommend that if you do not enjoy heights, do not do that. It's one thing you never want to do. So Cheyenne did find a Yochi. I mean, Adelaide has a Yochi, come on. Adelaide has a Yochi. It's got to be for real, this place.
Yochi, cheers.
Cheers. If you're looking for an affordable city to move you and your family and have an incredible quality of life, if you can get the employment here, Adelaide. Put Adelaide on your list. Get down to Adelaide. Check it out. This place is amazing.